Welcome guys back to the last lecture in our color section. In this one we'll be looking at the color white. So like the last section, there really is no variation of white. White is white. So all we'll be talking about is what it represents and how it affects us. White is the lightest color, obviously. Purest and most perfect. It's clear and ready for new beginnings. White usually represents a clean slate. So if ever we think of white, we always assume that it's the beginning of something new, because it's so pure. Some of the positive effects of white could be innocence, pure, like I said, clean, equality, pristine. The negative effects could be sterile, very stark, empty, plain and boring. See, a massive trend right now is having, an all white layout to show that, clean look, to have that pure look, right? But if white is just the only thing that's in the thing and there's no real other color palette represented, then it'll just look very plain and boring. Example, this could be the same could be said for, let's say, building a brand new house and all you have are white walls, white ceiling, white floor. Very plain, boring. Nothing really is appealing. But if you start adding some color scheme into it, different color palettes, then it'll have a very clean and fresh look to it. So what does it represent? And this most probably will be the last time I'll represent or I'll use World of Warcraft as an explanation or reference it in some way, because I'm pretty sure I've done this the entire part of this section. I'm very sorry for that. But like I said, and I've alluded to previously, World of Warcraft does such a great job at incorporating the colors in the right way, in a psychological way in game development, that it is apparent that I have to use these examples because it's just what it is. They have done such a great job, and I have to give them kudos on top of kudos, because their color palettes and schemes are nothing shy of just pure brilliance. So getting back to what I was saying, so what does white represent? So like I said, it represents innocence and purity, right? So white is the beginning of everything before anything is mixed to create any color. So a lot of times you can use white to represent, let's say, your priests. Or if you want to use, for example, on the right, we have our goddess, the spirit awakener. As you can see, her presence is that of innocence and purity, right? She looks very, elegant and clean and just ready to help us in any way. She also represents new beginnings. So after a player dies in World of Warcraft, they'll be brought to the graveyard where they'll be greeted by this spirit healer. And they could either make a decision of walking back to their corpse or asking her to revive them. So a new beginning, a clean slate. The only issue is that you're left with a 10-minute debuff and your stats are murdered down to like 25%. That's the only drawback, but it's still a new beginning for you. It represents equality and unity. See, a positive and negative aspects of all colors. So an equal balance of all colors in a spectrum. So no matter what shade you want to use, white represents the harmonious nature of all of them together. So how does it affect us? Well, white is very impartial. It suggests fairness and neutrality due to its spectrum. And it also could be considered, let's say, a rescuer, the white knight. See, the white saves us from the dark, and can be seen as the white knight saving the princess from the dark prince. See, we're not going to really say a dark prince saving somebody from a white knight, because that wouldn't make sense to us, right? We always associate dark with evil, grim, bad. So white obviously is the one that we have to play. We got to play the good guy. Well, obviously, we could use, different types of narrative elements in order to devise, new ways for users to actually, feel like they're actually enjoying the game through, let's say, having the Dark Prince actually being the prince that's supposed to be saving everybody. See, that would be a nice, cool element to add to an RPG element style game. It's very futuristic. White makes us feel like it expresses a new and improved and a cleaner, safer environment than a previous one. Whenever we have a movie or whenever we have, let's say, a futuristic scene, white is always displayed alongside blue as a new futuristic element or a new and improved way of life or society. White is also efficient. White is a very clean and clinical color, and thus giving off the impression that everything is organized and efficient. That's why hospitals, generally speaking, try to be as white as possible, because they want people to understand that everything is organized and efficient, and that they're okay there, that everything is under control. More often than not, healthcare systems really aren't. It's always a mess, but they use the white to make us feel and make us affect us in that way. And that's it, guys, for our color psychology section. So basically breaking down the different colors that are represented in the color wheel. I hope, and this will basically set the groundwork now for our next section, which we talk about color schemes. So example, triadic or complementary, monochrome, analogous. So understanding what the color psychology is and how we could use that in our color scheme to then further use it in game development to create scenes explaining what type of emotions we want the player to feel. So thank you guys for listening to this lecture, and I'll see you guys in the next section.